I never thought I'd marry again. Disappointment leaves a mark you can't shake. My first marriage was a slow bleed, a lesson in how love can turn sour when it's built on sand. By the time I walked away at 32, I was done. I told myself I'd thrive on my own, just me and my goals. Career first, no complications. I'd sip coffee in my quiet apartment, chase promotions, and let life unfold on my terms. That was the plan, and it felt solid, like armor I'd forged from the wreckage. But fate's a tricky thing. It doesn't care about your plans. It brought me Mark, a man so unlike my past, he might as well have been from another world. He didn't just teach me love, he made me believe it was real, something worth risking again. I'm 40 now, and looking back, I see it clear as day. Leaving that first life behind was the best choice I ever made. No regrets about the divorce, none about moving forward with Mark. He's not just a husband, he's proof that happiness doesn't give up on you, even when you've given up on it. My ex? He's a shadow I barely recall, a smug face fading in the rear view. But Mark? He's the present, the future, the steady hand that pulls me toward something better. I used to think love was a trap, a luxury I couldn't afford. Turns out, I was wrong. And tonight, as I sit here waiting for another chapter with Mark to unfold, I can't help but wonder, what twist of fate is coming next? Stick around, because this story's just getting started. 6 years with Mark, and I still catch myself smiling at how good it feels. I'm 40, he's 45, and we've built a life that's ours, no kids, no chaos, just us. Some might call it empty, but to me, it's full of quiet moments that mean everything. Kids were never in the cards, and that's fine. We've crafted something just as rich. Time together, no distractions. Mark's the kind of man who keeps his word, and I don't say that lightly. Every month, without fail, he plans a date night. Doesn't matter if work's a mess or the world's falling apart, he shows up. Sometimes it's a quiet dinner at home, a bottle of red and candles flickering on the table, his deep laugh filling the room. Other times, he whisks me off to the coast, waves crashing under starlight, my favorite place to breathe. It's not grand gestures, it's the steadiness, the way he makes me feel like I matter. My first marriage? That was a drought. Years of being invisible, a prop for someone else's ego. With Mark, I feel seen, like I'm not just along for the ride, but driving it too. Tonight's one of those nights, our little anniversary ritual. He's got something planned, and I can feel the buzz in my chest already. 6 years in, and he still surprises me, not with flash, but with heart. I think back to that woman I was, swearing off love, building walls. If she could see me now, she'd laugh, or maybe she'd cry, relieved. Mark's not perfect, but he's mine, and I'm his, and that's more than I ever thought I'd get. My ex couldn't hold a candle to this, not then, not ever. And as I slip into my dress for tonight, I know one thing for sure. I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. Mark's outdone himself this time, I can feel it. He reserved a table by San Francisco Bay, some upscale spot with a view I've been buzzing about all week. "You'll love it," he said, that gentle grin of his lighting up his face, and I believed him. It's not just the place. It's knowing Mark will make it magic, like he always does. I've been counting down the hours, picturing the ocean stretching out under the night sky, lights dancing on the water. He knows I'm a sucker for the sea, and he plays that card every chance he gets. As we pull up, the restaurant gleams ahead, perched on a cliff like it's floating. Inside, it's everything I'd hoped. Glass walls hugging the ocean, soft lights glowing gold across the room, piano chords weaving through the air. The tables are draped in crisp white, candles flickering like little stars. It's perfect, I think, sinking into my chair across from Mark. He pours me a glass of wine, his eyes catching mine with that familiar warmth. "Like it?" he asks, voice low and steady. "Love it," I say, and I mean it. Every second of this, of us. The menu's a blur. I'm too caught up in the moment, the way the bay sparkles beyond the glass. It's our 6th anniversary, and I can't imagine celebrating anywhere else. Mark's got that look, like he's proud to be here with me, and it hits me how far I've come. This isn't just dinner, it's a promise kept, another thread in the life we've woven. I lean back, letting the piano's melody wash over me, the night stretching out like a dream. Whatever's coming, I'm ready, because with Mark, it's always special. Little do I know, fate's about to throw a curveball my way. I'm lost in the ocean's shimmer, the dark water glinting beyond the glass, when a voice slices through the calm. Still hooked on the sea, huh? Too bad it won't fix your reality. My whole body locks up. A cold I haven't felt in years slinks down my spine. I know that voice, that smug drawl. Slowly, I turn, and there he is. Greg, my ex-husband, standing behind me like a ghost I thought I'd buried. He slides into Mark's empty seat, smirking like it's his right. Same cocky grin, pricey suit hugging his frame, but age has dulled his edge. Lines crease his face, his narrow eyes sharp with condescension. He's not the king he imagines, not anymore. A wave of disgust rolls through me, but I force my voice steady. It's been a long time, Greg. He scoffs, leaning back like he owns the place. Never thought I'd catch you in a joint like this. What, did you scrimp for months for a fancy night out? His laugh grates, loud and hollow, drawing a few glances. I cross my arms, meeting his gaze with a small, knowing smile. You're wrong. I'm here because my husband wanted to, not because I scraped by. He snorts, shaking his head. Husband, huh? Bet he's some average schmuck. Don't tell me you fell for another broke nobody, Wendy. My chest tightens, not from hurt, but from the sheer gall of him, still acting like I'm beneath him after all these years. I stay silent, letting him dig his hole. Emboldened, he leans forward, arms crossed, voice dripping venom. What's the deal? Still in cheap threads like before? Or maybe your new guy's just scraping by, dragging you here for a one-off splurge? The slow burn of anger flickers inside me. I don't regret leaving this creep, not for a second, but his nerve treating me like a joke stings the air. I glance toward the restroom, willing Mark to hurry back. Greg chuckles, eyes gleaming. Or maybe, he drawls, you haven't told him about me, Greg Larson, the successful man you let slip away. I laugh, sharp and cold. Successful? Really? His jaw clenches, but before he can spit back, I see Mark's shadow approaching. This isn't over, not by a long shot. Greg's words hang in the air, thick with mockery, and I feel the old anger flare, quiet but sharp, like a blade I've kept sheathed for years. Successful? Really, I'd said, my laugh cutting through his smugness, and now he's glaring, jaw tight, ready to strike back. You always were a dreamer, Wendy, he sneers, leaning closer across the table. Your husband? Some broke loser, right? You're still the same, cheap taste, cheap life, clinging to scraps. His voice rises, a taunt meant to wound, but it doesn't. Not anymore. I've outgrown his shadow, and he's too blind to see it. I sit straighter, my reply cool and measured. I'm here because my husband chose this, not because I'm clinging to anything. Greg snorts, rolling his eyes like I've told a bad joke. Oh, please, another nobody then. Bet he's just some desk jockey hauling you here to pretend you're somebody. Before I can answer, a deep voice cuts through the haze. Excuse me, that's my seat. I look up and there's Mark, standing behind Greg, his frame steady and calm, eyes locked on my ex with a quiet intensity. Relief washes over me, but I catch the flicker in his gaze. He's assessing, not just reacting. Greg twists in the chair, sizing Mark up with a lazy smirk. Oh, so this is him? Nice guy maybe, but not loaded, huh? Just some office drone cashing out for a big night? He chuckles, leaning back like he's won something. Mark doesn't flinch. He pulls out the chair beside me and sits, his movements deliberate, wine glass in hand. I don't think I need to prove anything to you, he says, voice smooth but edged, taking a slow sip. The air shifts. Greg's bravado stumbles, but he doubles down, crossing his arms. Smooth talker, I'll give you that. But let's be real. I know Wendy. She's got nothing of her own. If you're with her, you're not much better off. I clutch my glass tighter, not because his words sting, they don't, but because he still sees me as a punchline, a relic he can kick around. 10 years gone, and he's the same petty tyrant, blind to the life I've built. You're wrong, Greg, I say, my tone steady, eyes locked on his. I'm not the woman you remember. He laughs again, louder, shaking his head. Right, keep telling yourself that. What's this guy do? Push papers? Scrape by to impress you once a year? He's fishing now, baiting us both, and I feel the slow burn in my chest ignite. Mark sets his glass down, fingers resting lightly on the table. But I know him. Under that calm, he's coiled, ready. You done? He asks, voice low, almost bored. Greg grins, tilting his chin up. Not even close. I come here all the time, not some rare treat like you two. I've got the cash to live big, no worries. I glance at Mark, catching the faintest quirk of his lips, and I know he's seen through Greg's bluster too. The arrogance is a mask, and it's slipping. You come here often, I ask, my smile thin, testing him. Of course, Greg snaps, shrugging like it's obvious. Unlike you, I don't sweat the bill. He's so sure of himself, so smug, it's almost funny. Almost. I lean back, waiting, because I've learned something Greg never will. Pride, like his, always trips over itself. Mark's hand brushes mine under the table, a silent anchor, and I feel the tide turning. Greg's got no idea what's coming, and I'm done playing nice. The past might have walked in tonight, but it's not staying, not on his terms. Greg's boast about living big still echoes, and I'm half tempted to laugh at the sheer gall of it. But the moment shifts when a woman steps up to the table. I recognize her instantly, Lisa, Greg's current wife, the one he left me for all those years ago. She's a shadow of the spark she once had, face etched with exhaustion, dress clinging like it's a size too old. She drops a bill in front of Greg, her voice sharp. They need you to settle up now. Greg flinches, just a flicker, before pasting on that arrogant grin. No problem, he says, pulling out his wallet with a flourish, but his fingers hesitate, fumbling the card. Lisa crosses her arms, glaring. You bragged about this place, said you're a regular. So why is it taking so long? The server takes the card, swipes it, then pauses, his face apologetic. I'm sorry, sir. This has been declined. Greg's smirk freezes, his eyes darting. Must be a bank glitch, he mutters, digging for another card. But the crack in his armor's showing. I catch Mark's glance and he murmurs, just for me. Not quite the regular he claimed, huh? A small smile tugs at my lips. I can't help it. Greg's scrambling now, handing over a second card. But Lisa's done. You said you come here all the time, she snaps, voice rising. Why's your card useless? I'm not doing this again. She turns on her heel, storming off, leaving Greg gaping after her. The server returns, shaking his head. This one's declined too, sir. A hush ripples around us. Heads turn, whispers hum. Greg's face darkens, a flush creeping up his neck, but he forces a laugh. Temporary glitch. I'm good for it. Mark chuckles, soft and cutting. Seems like things aren't what you claimed. I lean back, sipping my wine, and add, guess tonight's a fluke then, not so regular after all. Greg's jaw tightens, his hands clenching on the table, but he rallies, puffing up like a cornered animal. Money hiccups don't faze me, he says, voice loud enough to draw more eyes. I'm a senior manager at Carter Enterprises. My salary covers nights like this easy. He shoots me a triumphant look, as if that title's a lifeline. Some people luck into a better gig by marrying up, Wendy. But you? This is your ceiling. He's grasping, and it's pathetic. I don't bite, not yet. Just watch him flail. Mark sets his glass down, his calm, unshaken. Funny you mentioned Carter Enterprises, he says, voice smooth, almost amused. Greg shrugs, oblivious. Yeah, big firm. I'm not some lowlife scraping by. I run things there. He's so proud, so sure. It's like watching a house of cards teeter. I swirl my wine, letting the moment stretch, because I know what's coming. Greg's built his whole night on this lie, this fragile ego, and it's crumbling under him. Lise is gone, his cards are dead, and the room's watching his throne collapse. You run things, huh? I say, my tone light but pointed. That's news to me. He smirks, leaning back. Believe it, Wendy. I'm a big deal. Always have been. Mark's hand rests on the table, fingers tapping once, and I feel the shift. He's ready to end this. Greg's dug his grave, and he doesn't even see the shovel. I take a slow breath, savoring the irony, because the man who once called me nothing is about to learn just how wrong he's been. The bill's still sitting there, unpaid, and his crown's slipping fast. Greg's crumbling fast, his unpaid bill glaring up from the table, but he's still clinging to that senior manager title like it's a shield. I run things, he'd bragged, and I'd let it hang there, a thread begging to be pulled. Now, with Lisa gone and the room's eyes on him, he's got no clue the ground's about to vanish beneath him. I set my wine glass down, the faint clink cutting through his bluster, and meet his gaze. You run things at Carter Enterprises? I ask, my voice calm but laced with something sharp. He nods, smirking like he's back in control. Yeah, Wendy. Big firm, big role. I'm not some nobody. Mark's fingers tap the table once more, a signal I know well, and he reaches into his jacket. With a casual flick, he slides a sleek black card across to the server, its metallic sheen catching the light. The waiter straightens, bowing slightly. Thank you, Mr. Bennett, he says, voice reverent, and whisks it away. Greg's smirk falters, his eyes darting to the card, then back to Mark. Bennett? He stammers, confusion cracking his bravado. No way. I lean forward, savoring the moment I've waited for without even knowing it. That's right, Greg, I say, my tone steady and clear. My husband's Mark Bennett, chairman of Carter Enterprises, and me, I'm the vice president. The words land like a thunderclap, and Greg's face drains of color, mouth twitching as if he's choking on his own arrogance. The waiter returns, receipt in hand, bowing again. An honor to serve you, Mr. Bennett. Mark takes the card back, slipping it into his pocket with a nod, then fixes Greg with a look, cool, unflinching. I don't care about Wendy's past, he says, voice low and firm. But I don't tolerate disrespect. Not to her, not to anyone. He pours more wine into my glass, a small gesture that feels like a crown after Greg's years of tearing me down. Greg's frozen, mouth half open, and I can see the gears grinding behind his eyes. Panic, disbelief, a slow dawning dread. This is a joke, right? He sputters, laughing nervously. You, vice president? You were just some low-level paper pusher. I shrug, crossing my arms, my smile faint but cutting. I was, but I didn't stay that way. After you, I got my degree, worked my ass off, climbed the ranks. Carter Enterprises saw what I could do. Not because of you, Greg, but despite you. His hands clench, knuckles white, and he turns to Mark, grasping. Bennett? I've heard the name, sure, but come on, her, vice president? Mark takes a sip of his wine, setting the glass down with a soft clink. She's not just capable, she's brilliant, my partner in everything. You, though? He pauses, eyes narrowing. Funny, I've never noticed you at Carter. The jab lands hard, and Greg's laugh dies in his throat. Never noticed me? He echoes, voice thin. I'm a senior manager. People know me. Mark tilts his head, unimpressed. Really? Because I've never heard your name come up. Not once. Makes me wonder if you're as big a deal as you think, or just some guy who slipped through the cracks. Greg's red now, sweat beading on his forehead, and I can't hold back a soft chuckle. So, Greg, I say, tilting my head, Still think I'm just some broke woman scraping by for a night out? He stares, speechless, his whole world flipping upside down. I lean back, wine in hand, feeling the weight of a decade lift off me. You had your shot to know me, I add, voice quiet but firm. You blew it. The room hums around us, but Greg's a statue, stunned, humiliated, cornered by the truth. Mark's hand finds mine again, warm and steady. And I know this isn't just a win over Greg, it's a reclaiming of everything he tried to take. Greg's bill sits unpaid, his ego in tatters, and for the first time I'm not the one looking small. Shall we go, love? Mark asks, his gaze soft on me. I nod, rising with him, leaving Greg to stew in the wreckage of his own making. The past tried to crash my night. It failed. The restaurant's golden glow fades behind us as Mark and I step into the cool night, but the victory's still warm in my chest. I thought that was the end of Greg. His silence as we left said plenty, but I underestimated his desperation. The next morning, I'm barely through my office door when my phone buzzes, an unknown number flashing. Something twists in my gut. I know it's him before I even answer. Hello? I say, keeping my tone flat. Wendy, Greg's voice crackles through, hesitant but pushing for confidence. I think we should talk about my job. I sigh, leaning against my desk, already tired of him. What do you want, Greg? He clears his throat, forcing a casual air. Last night. Bit of a misunderstanding, right? I didn't mean to disrespect you or your husband, just caught off guard. No one could have guessed you'd be vice president, you know? His backhanded jab stings, but I let it slide, gripping the phone tighter. Why should I care? I ask, cutting through his flimsy excuse. He stumbles, then rushes on. Look, I heard about the termination talk. There's gotta be another way. You can talk to Mark, convince him to let me stay. I let out a cold laugh, shaking my head even though he can't see it. And why would I do that? Silence stretches, then his tone sours, bitterness seeping in. Because you were my wife once, Wendy. You owe me that much. The nerve of him lights a slow fire in me, and I straighten, voice dropping low. Owe you? You really think I owe you anything? He doubles down, desperate now. Yeah, without me, you'd still be some nobody clerk with no future. I gave you a push. I laugh again, sharper this time, the anger steadying me. Is that what you tell yourself? Let me set it straight, Greg. I'm here because I fought for it, because I refused to let you or anyone define me. You didn't push me, you held me back. He's quiet, caught off guard, and I press on, each word a blade. You're not losing your job because of last night. It's your attitude, how you treat people, the crap you've pulled at Carter. This was coming and you've got no one to blame but yourself. His breath hitches, panic breaking through. No, Wendy, please, I know I messed up, but that's just how I talk. You get me, right? I was exaggerating. I shake my head, done with his excuses. No, Greg, you didn't exaggerate. You showed who you are. You disrespected me, the team, everyone, and now you're paying for it. He's panting now, grasping at straws. Mark's there, isn't he? Let me talk to him. I can explain. I scoff, cutting him off. You think he'd listen after all you've said? Goodbye, Greg. I hang up, the line dead, and sink into my chair, a strange calm settling over me. He's flailing, but I'm free, freer than I've ever been. The past called today, begging for a lifeline. It didn't get one. Greg's plea still echoes in my mind as I walk into Carter Enterprises the next day, but it's Mark who decides his fate, not me. I find him in the conference room, papers stacked high, and he looks up with that knowing glint. He called, didn't he? He asks, pen poised. I nod, crossing my arms. Begged me to save him. Thought I'd cave. Mark exhales, leaning back. Figured he would. Instead of firing Greg outright, he signs a reassignment order. Ohio branch, a speck on the map, a nowhere office, with no clout. He can take it or quit, Mark says, voice cold and final. Word gets back fast. Greg explodes in HR. I'm a senior manager, he shouts, fists clenched. You can't send me to some backwater dump. But he's got no leverage, no choice. A week later, he's gone, shipped off with Lisa trailing behind, her face grim. Ohio's a slow bleed for Greg. The branch is a cramped box, 2 desks, 1 grunt subordinate, endless paperwork about local grain shipments. No teams to boss around, no power to flex, just dull reports and petty client calls. I hear through the grapevine that Lisa lasts 4 months. "You said we'd have a better life," she yells, suitcase in hand, before boarding a one-way flight back to the city. "You're a fraud." Greg's alone now, stuck in a nowhere town, his smug grin replaced by a tight-lipped scowl. He clings to the job, thinking it's a stepping stone back, but Carter's forgotten him. Headquarters doesn't care about his memos or his calls. After a year, he cracks, resignation scribbled on a crumpled sheet. "I'll land on my feet," he tells himself, banking on his experience. He's wrong. The real world doesn't bow to Greg's delusions. No firm bites. His reassignment reeks of failure, a red flag no one touches. Savings dry up fast, and he's forced into a dingy suburban apartment, paint peeling, neighbors loud. The only gig he snags is a night shift at a convenience store, $12 an hour, mopping floors at 3 a.m. I picture him there, sweeping under flickering lights, no one glancing twice at the guy in the faded polo. Customers shuffle in, truckers, teens, drunks. None know he once bragged about upscale dinners and corner offices. "I'm a big deal," he'd said, and now he's just the clerk who restocks the Slurpee machine. His kingdom's shrunk to a counter and a broom, and I can't help the sardonic twist in my gut. He built his tower on sand. It was always going to fall. Mark's choice wasn't cruel. It was just. Greg's fate wasn't luck. It was him. While Greg's sweeping floors in Ohio, my life's never been brighter. Mark and I keep our rhythm, those monthly date nights a thread that holds us tight. Some evenings we're at a cozy spot downtown, sharing a plate of pasta, his laugh warming the air. Others, we're in Sonoma, sipping wine under the stars, talking about everything and nothing. He's 45 now, still the man who saw me when I couldn't see myself. And I'm 40, grateful every day I took that leap. Work's a whirlwind. Vice president keeps me sharp, but Mark's my anchor, making time no matter how crazy it gets. Last weekend we drove up the coast, just us, the ocean breeze tangling my hair. "You happy?" he asked, hand on mine. "More than I thought I could be," I said. And it's true. I think about that woman I was. Post-Greg, walls up, swearing love was a trap. She'd hardly recognize me now, thriving with a man who doesn't just promise but delivers. My first marriage was a cage. This one's a wide open sky. Greg's a faint echo, a lesson I learned and left behind. I don't gloat over his fall, not much, but it's a quiet justice, knowing I walked away and built something real. Mark's not just successful, he's kind, protective, the kind of partner Greg could never fathom. At Carter, we're a team, me steering strategy, him leading the charge, and it's more than I dreamed back when I was filing papers, head down. Leaving Greg wasn't just escape. It was a door to this. Tonight, we're home. A bottle of red open, candles flickering. Mark's telling me about some Ohio report. Ironic, I know. And I smile, letting the warmth settle. I'm not looking back with regret. I'm moving forward. Free. Greg's faded, a ghost of his own ego, while I've found my place. The past knocked, loud and ugly, but I answered with a life he'll never touch. That's my peace, earned, not given. Wendy's story isn't just about love or revenge. It's proof your worth isn't tied to where you've been, but how hard you fight to rise. She walked away from Greg's cage, rebuilt herself, and found Mark, a partner who lifted her higher. Greg? His pride was a house of cards, loud boasts, empty pockets, and when it fell, he landed where he belonged, nowhere. Arrogance doesn't bend, it breaks, and Greg's sweeping floors at 3 a.m. because he never saw the cracks. Wendy stands for grit, for clawing out of the dark and claiming what's yours. She didn't luck into happiness, she earned it, step by step, while Greg sank under the weight of his own ego. But here's the question. Did Greg deserve this? Or could he have turned it around if he'd swallowed that pride sooner? Could a man like him change? Or was Ohio his inevitable end? I've got my take. His fate was written in every sneer, but what do you think? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear them. Life's full of Wendy's and Gregs, people who rise, people who fall, and their stories teach us something raw. So, hit that follow button for more tales like this. Love, loss, justice, all the messy bits that make us human. Next time, who knows what twist will unravel? Stick around. The glass elevator at Morgan Technologies hums softly, pulling me upward through a cathedral of steel and ambition. Each floor a silent tick toward a moment I've orchestrated for 2 years. My reflection flickers in the polished walls, a 28-year-old woman in a simple gray blazer bought on clearance at Macy's. Nothing like the tailored suits gliding past me. My fingers brush the leather of my briefcase, heavy with secrets that could topple empires, or at least one man's ego. Below Chicago's skyline sprawls oblivious to the reckoning awaiting on the 45th floor. I've waited, planned, and sacrificed for this day. And as the numbers climb, I wonder, will they finally see me? Not as the shadow of my brother, but as the architect of my destiny. The elevator doors slide open at the 38th floor, and a man in a navy suit steps in his cufflinks, glinting like tiny stars. He doesn't glance my way, assuming I'm just another junior analyst or receptionist, a nobody in this corporate cosmos. I nod politely, letting him believe it. My phone buzzes in my pocket, and I know without looking it's Marcus. My brother with another directive, I pull it out, and there it is. Where are you? Stay in the back. Don't draw attention. This is my night. His words sting, but I don't reply. Instead, I watch the floors tick by 3940, each number a step closer to the boardroom where Marcus expects to be crowned Senior Vice President of Operations. Growing up, Marcus was the sun in our family's orbit. With his easy smile and calculated charm, he could talk his way into anything: a teacher's favor, a summer job, our parents' pride. I was the moon, pale and quiet, buried in business books while he dazzled. Why can't you be more like your brother? My mother would sigh, her eyes lingering on Marcus's trophies. I'd bite my tongue, retreating to my room to study finance and strategy, determined to carve my path. When I earned my MBA at 26, Marcus smirked, calling it just paper compared to his real-world hustle. Our parents nodded as if my degree were a consolation prize. The elevator hums past the 42nd floor, and I adjust my blazer, smoothing a crease. 2 years ago, I started my consulting firm, a silly little project in Marcus's words. While he climbed Morgan's ranks, I worked nights advising tech startups and quietly buying shares in their competitors. Every late-night spreadsheet, every handshake with investors led to this moment. My briefcase holds the proof documents detailing my acquisition of a controlling interest in Morgan Technologies. Marcus has no idea. Neither do our parents, who still see me as the academic who plays it safe. The man in the navy suit exits at the 44th floor, leaving me alone as the elevator dings for the 45th. My heart beats steadily, not with fear but with purpose. I step out the sleek hallway stretching before me like a runway to my future. Memories of Marcus's taunts echo his voice at last month's family dinner, cutting through the clink of wine glasses, Evelyn still hiding in books, while I'm about to make history at Morgan. My parents beamed oblivious to the empire I'd built in the shadows. I clutch my briefcase tighter, its weight grounding me. The boardroom doors loom ahead. Glass panels revealing a crowd gathered for Marcus's triumph. But this isn't his story, it's mine, and it's only just beginning. The Morgan Technologies conference room door gleamed under recessed lights, a portal to Marcus's moment of glory, or so he thought. I paused in the hallway, my reflection a ghostly shadow on the glass, a woman carrying 2 years of secrets in my briefcase, a silent witness to the drama about to unfold. My brother's text was still imprinted on my mind. Stay behind. Don't embarrass me. But I wasn't here to fade into obscurity. I was here to rewrite the script, and as I pushed through the door, I felt the weight of every late night, every calculated risk pushing me forward. Inside the conference room buzzed with anticipation. Mahogany tables stretched beneath crystal chandeliers and executives in tailored suits whispered their eyes on Marcus. He stood near the front, his smile like a polished weapon. He held court, shaking hands, his laugh ringing as if he had been crowned. Our parents sat in the front row, my mother's pearls glinting, my father's tie knotted to perfection. They beamed with pride, their golden child about to become the youngest senior vice president in Morgan history. I slipped into the room, keeping my distance from everyone without anyone noticing. It was fine. I had spent years being invisible to them. I find a spot near the back, my briefcase at my feet. Memories of last month's family dinner surface sharp as a blade. Marcus had leaned back in his chair, slicing into his steak, his voice dripping with condescension. Evelyn's still playing professor while I'm closing deals that keep Morgan ahead. My mother had beamed her fork, pausing midair. We're so proud of you, sweetheart. Some people just aren't built for the corporate grind. My father nodded, adding academia suits Evelyn. It's safe, predictable. I'd smiled, sipped my water, and said nothing. They didn't know I'd been meeting with Morgan's CEO Miranda Chin for months. Not about Marcus's promotion, but about something far bigger. Marcus saw me now, his smile fading. He pushed through the crowd, striding purposefully, and stopped a few inches away, his voice a low hiss. I told you to stay behind, Evelyn. This is my moment. Don't try to socialize or anything. He glanced at me, a smirk curving his lips, and try to be professional, at least. Don't mention that we're related. I returned his gaze, my voice soft but steady. Don't worry, Marcus. I'm not here to steal your attention. He snorted, turning away satisfied that I wasn't a threat. I checked my watch. 6:55 p.m. Right on schedule, Miranda Chin would be there in 5 minutes to make the announcement. The room quiets as executives take their seats, the air thick with expectation. I stand my fingers brushing the briefcase. Marcus returns to the front, straightening his tie, his confidence a tangible force. Our parents lean forward, my mother clutching her purse. My father's eyes fixed on his son. They've always seen Marcus as the star, the one who'd carry the family name to greatness. I was the afterthought, the daughter who chose books over boardrooms, or so they thought. They don't know about the shares I've acquired, the competitors I've outmaneuvered, the empire I've built, while they praised Marcus's every step. A murmur rippled through the crowd as the doors to the conference room opened. Miranda Chin strode in her presence, commanding her tailored black suit, as sharp as her reputation. She approached the podium, notebook in hand, and I felt a surge of anticipation. Marcus adjusted his cufflinks, ready for his name to be called. He didn't know what was coming. None of them did. I shifted my weight and my posture became more confident. The stage was set, and I was no longer the invisible sister. In a moment, the world would see me for who I truly was, and Marcus would learn the price of underestimating me. The conference room's crystal chandeliers cast prisms across the polished mahogany, but all eyes were on Miranda Chin at the podium, her voice cutting through the expectant silence like a knife through silk. I stood back, my heart pounding steadily as I watched Marcus groom himself, his navy, a second skin of confidence. And I felt the weight of 2 years, every late-night trade, every hidden stock purchase converging into this moment. I knew I was no longer the sister hiding in the background. I was the storm that was about to hit. And as Miranda's eyes swept the room, I knew the tide was turning. Ladies and gentlemen, Miranda began her notes, rustling with obvious purpose. Thank you for joining us at Morgan Technologies. Tonight, we're announcing not just a promotion, but a new chapter for our company. Marcus straightened his triumphant smile, as if certain his name was next. Our parents leaned forward in the front row, my father's hands clasped in anticipation. I shifted my weight, my gray Macy's coat a badge of my journey, modest but worthy. Miranda's voice sharpened. Before we discuss promotions, I must share an important development. For the past year, I've been searching for a leader with vision, integrity, and a bold grasp of the future of our industry. Marcus's grin widens his cufflinks, catching the light. He doesn't see Miranda's eyes flicker toward me, a signal we've rehearsed in clandestine meetings. That search, she continues, led me to someone whose business acumen is matched by their innovative spirit. Someone who, without fanfare, built an investment portfolio, controlling three of our major competitors. A murmur ripples through the room. Marcus's smile falters a crack in his polished facade. My pulse quickens, not with nerves, but with the thrill of a plan unfolding. This individual, Miranda says, has as of this morning acquired a 51% stake in Morgan Technologies through strategic share purchases. The murmurs grow louder, a tide of confusion. Marcus's face pales, his tie suddenly too tight. Our parents exchange glances, their pride curdling into unease. Miranda pauses, letting the tension coil, then extends her hand toward me. Please join me in welcoming the new owner and CEO of Morgan Technologies, Dr. Evelyn Mitchell. The room freezes, a tableau of shock. Marcus stumbles, his prepared speech slipping from his fingers to the floor. My mother's purse drops with a soft thud, my father's jaw slack. I step forward, my heels clicking on the hardwood each step, a reclamation of years spent in their shadows. The crowd parted, the executives staring as I approached the podium. Miranda stepped aside, her slight nod, a sign of our alliance. I set down the briefcase, the contents, the proof of my purchase waiting behind. Thank you, Miranda, I said, my voice clear. Filling the stunned silence, I had defeated them all, not with charm, but with relentless strategy. Marcus's eyes met mine, betrayed and disbelieving. Our parents sat like statues, their worlds turned upside down. I glanced across the room, seeing Jennifer Torres, a young executive watching with quiet curiosity. She would be part of what came next. For now, I stood tall, the conference room. My command, Morgan Technologies, I began, is about to change. Let's talk about why. There was silence, a breath before the plunge. I had been waiting for this, not to gloat, but to prove what hard work and vision could do. Marcus's moment had passed. My moment was just beginning, and as I gripped the podium, I knew this was just the first step in a larger plan. It was getting dark outside, but I felt illuminated, ready to lead, ready to reshape everything. The stunned silence in the conference room stretched like the aftershock of a thunderclap. My words still echoing as I stood at the podium, the new CEO of Morgan Technologies. Marcus swayed near the front, his face ashen with disbelief. The windows dimmed into twilight, but the tension in the room burned brightly. All eyes on me. I had only just taken the reins of the company, but the real work began now, exposing the cracks in Marcus's carefully constructed image and setting the tone for what Morgan would become under my watch. Before we move forward, I said, my voice, even there is still unfinished business. Marcus, please join me. The room moved, the whispers echoing like static. Marcus stiffened, his eyes darting as if searching for an escape. Our parents, sitting in the front row, gripped their chairs, my mother's knuckles white, my father's face flushed. Marcus? I repeated, letting a steel note creep into my voice. He moved, each step stiff, as if pulled by an invisible chain. The crowd watched. He stepped onto the podium, standing a foot away, his breathing uneven. I opened my briefcase, took out a thick sheaf of evidence, its weight like a promise kept. As you know, I addressed the room. Marcus was slated to become Senior Vice President of Operations. That plan has changed. Marcus's head snaps up, hope and fear warring in his eyes. I hold up a document, its pages crisp. Over the past year, I've reviewed every decision Marcus has made. His sales figures are strong, but his methods raise questions. I pause, letting the words sink in. Take the Harrison account. Marcus claimed credit for a proposal crafted by Jennifer Torres while she was on maternity leave. A gasp ripples through the crowd. Jennifer, seated midway, sits straighter, her eyes wide. Marcus's jaw tightens. That's not, he starts, but I press on. Then there's the Stevens Technology merger, I say, extracting another file. Marcus omitted a $50 million pension liability during due diligence, a fact he knew but buried to secure the deal. The room erupts in murmurs, executives leaning toward each other. Marcus's voice breaks through, shaky. You're twisting it. Evelyn, in business you make tough calls. You wouldn't understand hiding in your ivory tower. I turned to him, my gaze unwavering. Tough calls don't mean stealing credit or deceiving the board. They mean integrity. Something Morgan will now demand. Our father stands, his voice booming. This is outrageous. You can't smear your brother like this. I meet his eyes, calm but firm. I'm not smearing Dad. I'm presenting facts compiled over months of audits. Marcus's charm has carried him far. But it stops here. I turn to the crowd, my voice rising. Morgan Technologies thrives on talent and honesty. Starting today, we reward those who embody that. I find Jennifer in the audience, Ms. Torres. I'd like to meet tomorrow to discuss your role in the Harrison Project and leading our digital transformation initiative. Jennifer's face lights up, a slow smile spreading as Marcus seems to shrink beside me. The whispers grow louder, a tide of realization. My mother rises, her heels clicking sharply. Evelyn, this is jealousy, plain and simple. You've always resented Marcus's success. I hold her gaze, my heart steady. No, Mom, I've resented being dismissed while Marcus coasted on lies that ends now. Miranda, chin steps forward, her voice smooth. Mrs. Mitchell, perhaps we should continue this privately. The board has announcements to make. I nod. My office? I say, gesturing to the corner suite prepared for me. As Marcus and our parents follow their steps heavy, I catch Jennifer's nod of gratitude. The boardroom murmurs fade as we exit, but I feel the shift. Morgan is mine, and I'm just beginning. In the hallway. Marcus's shoulders slumped, his defiance crumbling. I clutched my briefcase, the remaining documents a roadmap for what came next. Outside was now a tapestry of city lights reflecting my resolve. I had exposed Marcus, but this wasn't about revenge. It was about building something better for Morgan, for Jennifer, for all those who had been overlooked. As we approached my office, I knew the most difficult conversation awaited, but I was ready. I had deserved this moment, and I would not back down. The heavy oak door of my new corner office slammed shut, drowning out the hushed murmur of the conference room, and I found myself face to face with Marcus and our parents, in a space that smelled of leather and new ambition. Lake Michigan sparkled beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, its waves a relentless mirror of the storm brewing here. I had just claimed ownership of Morgan Technologies, exposed Marcus's deception, and now beside me, its remaining documents, was a silent jury. But this moment was not about corporate conquest, but about the destruction of a family's warped foundation. As Marcus's eyes burned with rage, I braced myself for the reckoning I had planned as carefully as my takeover. Marcus explodes before I can speak, his voice a jagged edge. You've lost it, Evelyn. You can't just waltz in and ruin everything I've built. His suit, once a symbol of triumph, hangs loose, as if his confidence has deflated. I take my seat, the leather chair creaking under my weight. I didn't ruin anything. Marcus, you did with every shortcut and lie. I own 51% of Morgan. Now every move goes through me. My father steps forward, his face flushed. How this company's worth billions. Where'd you get that kind of money? His tone carries the old dismissal, as if I'm still the bookish girl who couldn't possibly outshine his son. I lean back, fingers tracing the desk's edge. My consulting firm, the one you called a hobby. It optimized tech companies, identified acquisition targets, and turned profits that I reinvested. I didn't need a penthouse or a sports car. I needed control. My mother's voice trembles, her faded designer scarf slipping. But you live in that cramped apartment, drive a beat-up sedan. You shop at Macy's. I nod. Because every dollar went into this, while you bankrolled Marcus's failures. Marcus flinches and I pull a manila envelope from my briefcase, spreading its contents across the desk. Bank statements, property records, wire transfers. These show 5 years of transfers from your accounts to Marcus. I say, my voice low but unyielding. Money from remortgaging your house twice to cover his gambling debts and failed ventures. My mother gasps, her hand clutching her throat. He said it was for investments, she whispers. My father's shoulders sag. Special opportunities. I slide a statement forward. He lost it all. The second mortgage payment is due next week. You can't pay it. The room feels smaller, the air thick with their dawning panic. My father's voice cracks. We thought, maybe you could help. I pull another document, its terms stark. Morgan Technologies will buy your house at market value, clear both mortgages, and let you stay at 30% below market rent. But there are conditions. I meet their eyes, unflinching. You'll attend financial counseling, you'll stop funding Marcus, and you'll sign a letter acknowledging how you've sidelined me for years. My mother's tears spill, smudging her mascara. That's blackmail. I shake my head. It's accountability. You've poured everything into Marcus, called me a failure, and now you're drowning. This is your lifeline. Marcus lunges forward, his voice hoarse. You're sending me to Minneapolis. A sales manager, I'm better than that. I stand my blazer crisp against the desk's sheen. You were set for vice president, but your ethics make that impossible. Minneapolis is a fresh start. Your flight's tomorrow first class. I'm not cruel. My father slams a fist on the desk. We'll fight this. I cut in calm as steel. The board approved these changes weeks ago. You three were the only ones in the dark. I slide the agreement forward, a pen beside it. Sign, keep your home, and we'll rebuild. Or don't lose everything and enable Marcus's spiral. The silence stretched as heavy as the depth of the lake outside. My mother reached for the pen, her hand shaking, and signed. My father followed, his face etched with defeat. Marcus stared, then turned away, his fight over. As they left, I saw my reflection in the window. My resolve, my victory. This was not revenge. It was truth, hard and necessary. My phone buzzed, a text from Miranda confirming the board's support. I was ready for what was next for my family and the company I would reshape. 3 months later, my office overlooks the winter glow of Lake Michigan, the Chicago skyline, a mosaic of progress under a gray dawn. I've swapped my Macy's blazer for one. I've chosen simple, unadorned, reflective of who I am. My desk is littered with reports, evidence of Morgan Technologies' transformation. I've just read Jennifer Torres's latest update. Her digital initiative has increased efficiency by 30%, exposing more of Marcus's buried flaws. Minneapolis reports a blizzard. I wonder if Marcus has found his footing yet. As I sip my coffee, a knock on the door interrupts my thoughts. Jennifer with news that opens up Morgan's future and my family's fragile redemption. Jennifer enters, her tablet glowing with data. The Stevens audit's done, she says, confident now as head of digital transformation. You were right, Marcus hid more than the pension liability. We found $10 million in overstated assets. I nod, unsurprised. Send the report. And Jennifer, you're doing exceptional work. She beams, leaving me to my thoughts. My parents requested this meeting, their first since signing the agreement. The door opens and they enter, thinner. Their designer clothes frayed. My mother's voice is soft. Evelyn, we've been trying to reach you, Marcus. He's struggling. I gesture to the chairs. His sales are below target, I say, pulling up his file. Minneapolis demands results. Not charm, I've ensured his work is scrutinized. My father frowns. It's too harsh. I lean forward. It's what he needs. He's hit rock bottom, admitted his gambling to his director. I've enrolled him in a program for addiction and ethics training. My mother's eyes welled up. You did that? I nod, not for praise, but for change. They exchange glances, and my mother whispers, We're sorry, Evelyn. For everything, I stood up and walked to the window, the icy lake reflecting my resolve. The advisors will call tomorrow, I said. Let's stick to the agreement and we'll rebuild. They nodded, leaving a little light, their respect for me. A new spark, I returned to my desk, assembling reports for the board. In the boardroom, I presented our expansion plan, a $500 million investment in AI. My voice steadied the board, standing tall as I entered. My new jacket fit perfectly, a symbol of my path. Success, I told them, was proving you right. As I rode down the glass elevator, I knew I was just getting started.